Hey everybody, and welcome back to That Outdoor Life with Matty Payne. Today we're talking Ski-Doo, and we're talking something that probably has frustrated you if you're a Ski-Doo rider, and that is a foggy lens. And typically that comes from one of two things. Maybe your helmet's broken, but the other thing is you're getting intermittent power from your sled port. And what Ski-Doo has done is they've created a system called the E-LinQ system that rids you of that poor connection on your sled body. And that's the E-LinQ system here, which is, again, as you can see on the picture, you've got a coupler that goes over a port, and then you've got your key fob, and it all is in one, tied to your kind of key harness that attaches to your jacket or your suit. And so it makes for a very strong connection. It's magnetic. It's got 4 ports instead of just the one kind of male end port that goes in and then can move and rattle with your vibration of your sled or your trail conditions. And so this makes sure for a permanent connection at all times. It also solves that problem when you go to leave your sled and you pull your key and you forget to unplug your helmet, and next thing you know, your wire's being tugged off, and maybe you're wrecking the connection for future rides, or just damaging the connector or the wires. So it allows a one pull from the machine and everything comes off, your helmet connection and your key port connection. So it's really awesome. I'm really excited. I've had nothing but problems with my female port for my helmet heated visor. It's been nothing but problems. It's intermittent power all the time. I did a previous video on that, which I think there's a solution for that, but I think this is a better solution from Ski-Doo. So what we've got here's what we've got to do this. Of course, you got your instructions, which you do have to print off. You've got the actual E-LinQ package from Ski-Doo. Again, my part number is 860201719. Again, I have a 4-stroke model. That is the 4-stroke model package. For 2-stroke, it's a different part number, so make sure you're aware of that. We've got the template. So here's the template. That's going to go on the hood of the Ski-Doo. And word to the wise with the template, when you print it out, don't know why it doesn't come in the package. You got to print it out with the instructions. When you print it out, make sure it's to scale. The first one I printed out was not to scale, and if I had to put that on the machine and drill the holes, I would have had 5 holes that were in the wrong place. So make sure you print it to scale, and the way to check that is with the piece that comes. Just align the piece with the template to make sure the holes match up. If they don't, it's not to scale. You got to redo it. So again, word to the wise, make sure that's to scale. We've got a Sharpie to mark the holes. We've got a 932s or 7mm drill bit. That's to do all the 5 holes. Then you got the hole saw to make the port where that connector goes down and through the hood. That's 1 inch, 25mm. We just got some tape to tape on the template. And then we've got our power tools, just a drill and a driver. And of course, with most Ski-Doo stuff, you need a T25 Torx bit. Again, most of those screws are there. You really only need this to get the hood off. There's nothing other than drilling with regards to the installation, drilling and zip tying with the installation of this new system. So let's get to this. Let's get this on the sled. As you can see, I've already got the hood off. Again, I was doing a previous video on this stupid port, and so the hood's already off. Again, it comes off six Torx screws or bolts, and the hood comes off, slides off really easy. But let's take this hood and let's get this template on, and let's draw this thing and get this thing drilled out and get moving. Right on. I'll just show you what comes in the box here. So let's take a look at that. We've got the actual connector and the cord that's going to run down under your hood and then back around to where all your connectors are. You've got your magnetic connector, and again, this piece here is where your key is going to go in, and what you're going to do is you're going to disassemble your existing key and cut its harness and put your key into that. So that's that. You've got this guy, which based on the instructions is just a rubber gasket. It's to make it sit up a certain way. On my sled, a wide body, I believe it's a wide body, this isn't required. On the narrow body, you've got to put this on with the actual connector. So I don't think I need that for my install. Then we've got this guy, which is your connector, which I believe allows you to have auxiliary power ports still. so it doesn't take up your auxiliary power. So it's teed off there for you, which is good. Like I said, that's the other piece of the key that you're going to put on. And then you've got your washers. That's what these little washer grommet, I don't know what you want to call them, star washers, I think they might be called. They go on the back side of this when you put it through your hood, and that's what holds it tight to the hood. And then we've got some zip ties. We've got some zip ties. 2 of them come with this neat little gizmo that's going to attach onto the hood and hold onto the hood so that the zip tie has an anchor point to the hood. So pretty neat thing. And then you've got just one other zip tie on its own to take all those wires when they come around and go to the connector portion, I think just to tie them to keep them all together. So that's what comes in the box. Pretty cool. And so we'll get after this here. Template is on and holes are marked. Alright guys, we got our holes drilled. It fits nice. Just gonna work this through here. Goes on there. We're just gonna flip this over and I'm gonna put those star washers or whatever they're called on the other side. So the trick to this part in getting your grommets or your star washers on is take an 11 mil, just set that on the top, and then the hole in the socket allows you to push with force into the thing. So let's try that out. Last one. Alright guys, a close-up of those grommets or those star washers, whatever they're called, on. Without the 11 mil and the extender, the socket extender, that would have been impossible to get on. That's a really nice trick. Now we're on to the next step, which is just routing this guy. I'm going to come up, there's a hole there, I'm going to come up through that, clip it here, and then clip it here, and then we send it across and down underneath this air intake here. And it should come out the other side to give it access to your connectors. Okay, so let's check the zip tie locations. One here, see, there, one there, look from above, there. And you're gonna run this through and under the air intake and throw it down. There's a little hole. You get it through that hole, you should be able to see it on this side. There, there. And then you're good. Okay, we've got the harness, the front, back of the front of the sled. So we're going to connect this guy right here into where my port is for my helmet now. But the nice thing is this has got a T on it, so I can still keep that port alive, and I will just for backup. Not that I think I'm going to need it, right? This is to solve my intermittent problems, but at least I still have it for backup. So I am going to connect it for now. If I install a different accessory and maybe I need it for something else, then I can just basically have that port not connected. But this is what we'll do for now. So again, we're going to unclip that guy, put that guy in there, and clip the thing I unclip onto there. And then this guy goes back up and connects to the thing you just installed through the hood, the actual port in the hood. And what we're going to do is we're going to tie wrap all this right to here. And then that's going to allow us to keep this. This will always be together with your kind of main cabling, your dash and your headlights, so it all stays together. Okay, so let's do that. Okay. Do that guy there. There he is. Take this guy here. That's that. Take the other side of your T, back install it on here, so keep that port alive. And we'll take the rest of this guy. And tie wrap it. So here's the connection for your new thing right here. Should we get it the right way? The tabs are there. Okay. Connect back your lights. Connect back your speedometer. Yes. All right, we've moved inside the house. We're doing the last step of the E-LinQ Retrofit. And that last step is taking your old key and transferring it into the new setup for the E-LinQ, which has the helmet connector and the key in one. So here's the parts that are involved with this step. You got your old key. You need a flathead screwdriver, small one, to pry off this cover on both sides. You're going to need this guy to secure the key into the connector here. You need scissors because you're going to have to cut this lanyard off of this key right here. This comes in the E-LinQ kit. This is the new cover that goes with here, and a screw matching that screwdriver. And then you've got the piece that comes in the E-LinQ kit, which is your helmet connector, and then where the key, your existing key, goes in. Okay, so that's everything. We're going to get to this right now. Right on. First step is you cut this lanyard off like that. Here comes the key. Then you're going to take your flathead screwdriver. You're going to get in here and pry this out, just like that. Try the other side. Out like that. There you go, there's your key. Then I'm going to take this guy, put it in like this. Okay. Little screw. Screw that in here. Okay, now you're going to take your new cover, there, boom. So you just gotta pinch, once you get one of them inside the little tab, you gotta just pinch this one in with a screwdriver, and then she pops in. And there you go. You've got your new key all ready to go. And then just plug it into your existing oxygen. An oxygen helmet. You might not all have an oxygen helmet, but mine does. So I've got the basically the same magnetic end on both sides. And the last step is to go try this out on the Ski-Doo. So let's go do that. Right on. All right, so this is a pretty cool feature of this E-LinQ system too, is again, you can snap it onto your jacket, onto your suit like this, and it's got this little receiver here for the key, so that when you're, you know, done on the sled and you're walking in to get a beer or get some food, or you're done, you just clip her up here, and now it stays right here. So that's a pretty cool function. I really like that a lot, but most importantly, let's go check to see if it works on the sled. Take a look at the connector here, installed right. Open it up. There's the connector. Close, open. There's the key and the helmet connector. Watch this as it just snaps on here. Boom, snap, on. Again, let's do it again. Easier to maybe see with this hand. Snap, on, boom. See it? Super easy. All right, let's throw the helmet on. From the first part of the video, you know that I got power to this after installing it. Let's make sure the helmet part works too. So let's check that out. Right on. All right. That's the helmet connector for the oxygen. got power to the sled. We got power to the helmet. Let's go!